Still no end in sight, at the strike at Canada Post, as the job action is into its fourth week. 55,000 postal workers walked off the job last month, bringing mail service to a halt across the country. Wages, weekend delivery, and job security are some of the key issues in the dispute. Federal mediation was put on hold last week due to the union and the Crown Corporation being too far apart and has yet to fully resume. Canada Post, meanwhile, has released a statement which reads in part, Canada Post is surprised by public comments made by CUPW regarding our counter-proposal, as we have made significant moves to close the gap on key issues like weekend delivery, pensions, and wages, and bring much-needed urgency to the discussions. It goes on to say Canada Post has continued to put forward fair offers that are focused on our customers and our employees, improving service to grow our parcel business while protecting and enhancing what our employees have today. So for the very latest in reaction on this labor dispute, we're joined now by Mark Lubinski, president of the Toronto Local of CUPW. Good to have you today, sir. Thanks for taking the time.
Good afternoon, Lindsay.
So a lot to kind of unpack there from that latest statement from Canada Post, but what do you make of the part near the beginning where it said it's surprised that the union is making public comments?
Well, they didn't. The statement that you had there was regarding the public comments regarding the negativity of the counter offer that was given. Right now, the mediator has stepped aside, but he's still passing on offers from both parties. The last comment I heard was that they were actually going backwards. That Canada Post is going backwards, and it's a worse offer than before, and they're creating more part-time jobs in that offer. I'm not surprised. I've seen how Canada Post has acted. Their spokesperson has put the blame on the workers. He's talked about losses, but all these losses are a responsibility of the board of directors of Canada Post, of the minister, Duclos. They're responsible for these losses for 5 years. They made strategic investments. They built plants. They invested $500 million in a new plant. Now, all we need to do is go back to work. We need to have a fair offer to protect ourselves from cost of living, to have the same standards we had 3 years ago, be able to afford the groceries in the store, be able to afford living in Toronto. So that's all we're asking as members. And we're very shocked. But this behavior of Canada Post is no different. We've been negotiating for over a year. We've been on the picket line for 3 weeks. You know, if this was resolved before a strike, there would have been no issue. And we were forced to go on strike. They changed our working conditions. They took away our benefits. Now they're actually laying off workers on strike. We're perplexed. It's just intimidation for the workers that are on the picket line. So I'm very disturbed, but I know this employer. I've dealt with them for 34 years. That's just how they are. The government, Minister Duclos, needs to be responsible. We need good jobs, like he said, for Canadians, but he needs to get that to his CEO to understand that and tell Doug Edinger and that board, respect Canadians, respect the workers. You know, that's the realities.
And I do want to get a little bit more into, those demands you just mentioned and possibly some of the sticking points in negotiations. But just touching on this statement once more, because there was one more question I had from this. The Canada Post said that we have not yet received a formal response from CUPW through the mediators, I'm assuming, to the latest offer. Has the union now formally responded?
I'm not privy to that information. I was updated yesterday. You gave me a further update from Canada Post today. But, they're going back and forth. So has the union given a counter proposal to their last offer? I guess they didn't if Canada Post says they haven't. But the mediator hasn't started it up, mediation, but he is passing forward these counter offers from both parties. I know our union has modified our demands, and we also have moved on Canada Post demands to move forward. We want a negotiated contract at the bargaining table. We want to be back to work yesterday. But, we need a fair agreement. What Canada Post proposed initially in their global offer, they wanted us to take a cut of salary of 10% because there's a cost of living. We're all falling behind as workers. In Toronto, rent has gone up in the last 9 years. It's doubled. How could we afford to live? We need to be treated with respect. Workers in Canada Post, a Crown Corporation that's owned by the government, that uses no taxpayer money, that has used reserves to modernize our company. It's a public institution, so it's ours. So we just want respect and be able to live with dignity. And Canada Post, their executive board needs to understand We're workers, and the government needs to tell them what they tell us in public. They need to tell that board, treat us with respect. We're just workers, and we want a decent cost of living increase so we could survive, be the same place where we were 3 years ago.
Okay, we are just about out of time. I do want to ask you one more question, though. I appreciate, you already went through kind of the demands, the sticking points. I take your point that a lot of things have been taken away from Canada Post workers, like benefits, for example. But for customers who are kind of like, okay, this is the third week of the strike, things have been disrupted. What's your message to customers who are watching this back and forth between the union and Canada Post? You did say you wanted to get back to work yesterday. Are you hopeful that maybe a deal can be reached soon?
So one thing I just want to correct is we're fighting for new workers. A lot of these things, they are taken away from new workers. They want to create a part-time workforce that works 8 hours a week. We don't want a gigafied economy. We don't want gigafied corporate workers. So that's where the major fight is. But regarding what to say to our customers, I empathize with you. I'm a customer also. I've even, Christmas, we lost 3 weeks of our wages, 6%. And I looked online too to buy something, but I'm not going to use no other carrier. I say we are fighting for the middle class, the regular workers. If we don't win our fight, we have the power, the right to go on strike. We're forced to go on strike by a crown corporation that says that we have the right to live with dignity. That's all we want. We empathize with all customers, and we are a customer also. It is something that you need to go to your MP. That's actually what we're starting to do across the country. Our picketers are picketing member of parliament offices to tell their minister and this crown corporation, treat us with respect. So what I can tell the customers is go call up your MP. We just want respect, just like every middle class living, middle class working in the city of Toronto. Thank you.
Okay, that is Mark Lubinski, president of the Toronto Local of CUPW. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Lindsay.
Thank you.